for joining us today. We have a wonderful treat for you, and I know you'll be glad that you set this time aside to take this training. Coping during uncertain financial times. This is the first time we've ever done a part one and a part two. So we're excited because this is one of our most popular trainers, if not the most popular. So she'll have more time to go further in depth with you next month. So, a few important reminders. There is no CEU for this training. That's a very often asked question, but there's great content and you'll be learning a lot. This recording will be emailed to you on Monday. The presentation deck is not shared, but you will have the recording. And if you have any tech problems, you can go to financialsocialwork.com and chat with us. Eric will be there to help you. So let's keep going. Whoa, training is getting away from me. So stay tuned after the presentation because we always have a discount for those who joined us. So I am Rita Wolfson. I am the president and founder of the Center for Financial Social Work and of the discipline of financial social work. Linda Benjamin is here with us. She is our relationship manager, and she'll be working with us momentarily on our discussion question. And Eric is the master of all things, not just technological, but so many other things having to do with financial social work. And our presenter is the ever popular Dr. Veronica Hardy. She will tell you about herself. You can see she is a licensed clinician and university professor. She is an author and she's an awesome presenter. So I'm going to just finish up with my part so you can hear her part. I'd like to begin our trainings with our financial social work affirmation because I feel that it captures the essence of the work I've been doing for the past 29 years. It goes just for today. I will love myself enough to face my fears, practice self-acceptance, and embrace hope. I will silence my inner critic, speak my truth, and make peace with myself and with my past. Just for today, I will give myself permission to eliminate toxic people, beliefs, and behaviors from my life and prepare for a better tomorrow by healing my relationship with my money and my relationship with myself today. We're going to begin with our audience participation and discussion. And today, I want to share this with you because I want to hear your thoughts on how you will be working with clients this year, knowing that money problems, those who have money problems face 60% higher death risk. Share some thoughts in the discussion, in the question box. And Linda will be sharing them with all of us as you pop those in there. This is a serious problem because the findings from this study suggest that doctors may need to screen patients for financial strain and food insecurity alongside traditional risk factors like cholesterol and blood pressure to identify hidden cardiovascular risk. Well, those of you who have followed us or been with us or are certified, you know that we realize here at Financial Social Work what a serious problem this is. So let's hear from you. How can you be better prepared to help your clients as those holiday spending bills start coming in and they experience the overwhelm that comes along with financial anxiety, problems, and trauma? Linda, is anybody sharing with us?
Yes, we have a couple of people telling us, be present, don't judge. Teaching financial education courses and related topics and work, one-on-one budget coaching. Anyone else? Put your comments in the question box. Validate what participants are going through.
Good. These are really
Someone
great.
else is saying budget coaching. Have a vision or meditation of themselves experiencing the next few weeks or months without spending. Live lean. Being the person who they know they can share their fears with and get help with planning some steps to make things better. Here are 3 simple words that help us. Give safe space. Teaching self-empathy and exploring emotional ties to spending. Referring to community resources. Be kind to yourself. Encourage and educate to promote empowerment with participants' financial well-being. Let them know they're not alone.
Wow.
The statistic is really stunning and speaks to how financial wellness not only improves lives, also it extends lives. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Wow. I didn't expect that.
Right. Right. And one more, find free events to be in the community without spending money.
So important. So expensive. Just wake up every day these days. So great suggestions. I think everyone who responded will do a good job working with their clients going into this new year. Oh, no, I wanted to show that. I still feel very strongly about this. I know we've kind of moved on, perhaps, from this issue of whether social work is a career or not, but I wanted to share that I don't feel there's any career more professional than social work. And I'm going to guess most of you agree. So I'm going to just quickly explain to you about my journey to financial social work. So we'll look at a historical timeline. In the early 1900s, you see, we all know the history with Jane Addams and economic justice. We know what was happening with Social Security back in the 60s. And even earlier than that, social workers were involved in responses to the Great Depression. Then in the 60s to 80s, the anti-poverty and social justice movements, the Economic Opportunity Act launched the war on poverty. But that was a while ago for sure. Then we had the 70s and 80s, the emergence of consumer credit, welfare reform debates, and economic dislocations. There were problems. And those first credit cards, the very first credit card was a diner's card. And it was really almost a piece of paper. And it was only available to men. So in the 80s, economic disparities continued to grow. and our profession began addressing housing insecurity, unemployment, income inequality, but still no movement to incorporating personal finance in our work. In the 1990s, there was a movement towards financial literacy, and the social work profession began referencing financial capability. That did not resonate as much for me as financial social work being a distinct model derived from a structured model integrating financial education, behavioral change, emotional awareness, and trauma-informed care. So I founded the Center for Financial Social Work following a few years when I introduced this work as Feminomics and the Gender of Money. And we'll be examining that issue in a few months on one of these free webinars. So the COVID-19 pandemic brought a lot of changes, none of them very good at the time, although a lot of people did become dependent on the subsidies that were available at that time. When we did the monthly free webinar that you're attending here today, we have well over 12,000 people register for that COVID-19 free webinar. So looking ahead, we're looking to promote professional recognition and integration on this work, expanding into health, mental health, and public policy, more equity-centered and trauma-informed approaches, and of course, technological innovation and access. And some of that we hope to accomplish with our new textbook launched and published by Cognella in the spring of last year. So we're hoping that this will become an integrated part of social work education. So what is financial social work? Well, it is a lot of things because it's at the center of our profession, politics, the economy, gender, racial, social, economic, and other able justice, and mental health and financial inequity. It is very comprehensive and addresses so many issues that our clients experience and we need to work with them on. I'm sure that if I asked you, you could fill the question box with different populations in need of finding greater financial health and wellness. These are a few that we're sharing with you. Symptoms. So often clients come in with this and we know that because we work with certain populations, each of us works with different groups of people. When they present with various experiences of eating disorder, shame, insomnia, high blood pressure, we need to realize there's a very strong possibility that it's due to record high consumer debt, no emergency fund, getting stuck in predatory financial products. Clients don't come in presenting with financial problems, often because they don't know if that's okay. They don't have the language to talk about it. They don't want to be judged. It's a complicated issue, but it is definitely a social work issue. No one chooses to have money problems, but we all know that most people do. We have, as a profession, been researching, assessing, and analyzing poverty, social and economic inequity, and so many of the issues in areas that our profession is trained to address, but we've not been providing students and practitioners with the tools, skills, confidence, or competence to address those issues. Social workers need to address the money, mental, physical, emotional, and social connections in clients' lives because they're all impacted by our financial health or lack of health. Staggering number of men and women are unable to meet the financial expectations. They were being placed on everyone a year or two, but now they're greater and greater as the cost of everything increases. Clients need someone knowledgeable and trustworthy to help them cope with their financial struggles. They need a safe, non-judgmental space to learn and talk about money, and someone and somewhere to share the money secrets and questions they've been denying, hiding from, or avoiding most of their lives. So now it's time for me to turn you all over to Dr. Hardy so you can see what she has created for you and she can tell you about herself. Do you have that, Dr. Hardy?
Yes, I am pulling it up now.
There you
Let's
go.
see. And if you could let me know if you can see my screen.
You see it, but it's not in presentation mode yet.
I think it'll kick in 1 second, hopefully.
There you go.
Ta-da! Wonderful. So just hello, everyone. Thank you, Rita. It's always a delight here to be with the Center for Financial Social Work. And thank you, everyone, for attending and spending this time with us today. We have a sort of a different topic, just as I navigate through it with you today. And it is called Coping with Uncertain Financial Times. I wanted to open by just giving you a little bit of background about this topic and why I chose it. On this screen, you can see 3 images. One is a QR code, and that's kind of to my Amazon book page. The middle is a woman looking through these binoculars, and the last image is a book titled Prepared on Purpose. So this presentation came out of a question that someone asked me. Many of you might remember the story of Noah and the Ark, which came from one of the historical texts called the Bible. And in the story of Noah and the Ark, Noah was guided to prepare for something that was to come. And that situation that was to come was something that Noah or no one during that time had ever seen before. And that was going to be a flood. And Noah was kind of given these instructions on how to prepare to be in a survival mode during that flood or this catastrophic experience. Someone had asked me, Veronica, who was the first prepper you ever knew of? And I was thinking back to maybe some YouTube videos that I had watched about prepping and being prepared. for challenging situations that were to come. And I couldn't think of a name. And then they said, Noah. And I said, that's a good point. We could learn quite a bit from that story. And that led to the development of this book called Prepared on Purpose, which pulls all these different tips and ideas together of how to be prepared as best we can for challenging situations. Whether it's gardening, whether it's saving money, whether it's learning about alternate resources other than electricity. And I thought it'd be great to transition all of this idea into a financial related webinar. And even on the cover of the book, you can see food from my garden, which is another way to be prepared. And that also connects to finances. The woman image in the middle with the binoculars, you're going to see that throughout the webinar. I put that image in there because I thought that it gave us an idea about looking forward, stepping into each day with kind of this foresight, working on seeing, well, what could happen? And if this did happen, what are steps that I might be able to take to prepare for it in my life? So that is what this webinar is about today. So I wanted to open with a poll question, and I'm going to pull it up on our screen now. And the question is, how would you describe your current approach to financial uncertainty? Are you mostly reactive? I deal with things as they come. Somewhat proactive. I plan ahead when I can. Very proactive. I regularly prepare for multiple scenarios. Or unsure. I'm still trying to figure it out. This is great. I see this poll is filling up quickly. So we'll take about 3 more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results with you. Okay, so if you can see these results, it says 10% mostly reactive. We have about 62%. This is good, somewhat proactive. I plan ahead when I can. Most of us, we're so busy. We're really working to think about what some of our next steps might be. 18% very proactive, excellent. What are some of those many scenarios that could come up and affect our lives? And then 10% unsure. I'm still trying to figure out my approach, and that is perfectly fine. My hope is that this webinar today will support you in that. So thank you everyone again for participating in that poll discussion. As we go into these next few slides, I wanted to pull some scenarios that I've seen in recent headlines, whether it's on the news or newspapers, news magazines, things such as that, to really show us some of those real world situations that are impacting the financial lives of many people who are around us. So one of those situations and experiences that many of us have been hearing about since possibly the latter half of 2025 are about healthcare premium increases. And the thought behind that is that there are certain subsidies that the Affordable Care Act provided. And because of those subsidies, people were able to experience lower cost premiums. However, reportedly, those subsidies came to an end at the end of 2025, resulting in these possible significant increases in premiums in 2026. Can you imagine a 75% increase in your insurance premium? That's almost triple, right? Or almost double of what you might be paying now. So I wanted to give an example or use this as an example of how policy changes can affect our households and our finances, and how significant it is for us, again, as social workers and those providing services to others, stay up to date about the various policies that are out there and the possible changes that could be taking place on the horizon. Another one that many of you may have heard of over the past year or so is about the shifts in the student loan options. As many of you know, there have been these repayment plans, and even these plans where we could work for a nonprofit organization and then our student loans would be paid off. Those are beautiful opportunities, but over the past couple of years, there have been this restructuring of the Department of Education, and part of this restructuring has included finding ways to really confront I believe, the unpaid loans, and as a result, many of the benefits that have come with many of these student loan options have been closed out or come to an end. As a result, for borrowers and those starting to transition into college or university, now it's important to start thinking about, well, what are some of those other steps that I could take around financing my education? And then we have one more example, and I just heard this one last week on a news episode out of South Carolina. And this one was in regards to city workers in the state of South Carolina. In the news broadcast, there were firefighters and law enforcement, all retirees who received word that their medical benefits that they were supposedly supposed to have for the rest of their lives were going to be removed. Now, I wonder how many of you work for federal organizations, state organizations, city organizations, where your organization has that same, for lack of better words, promise that when you retire, you will have medical benefits for the rest of your life through us. From this news episode, things such as that can change. Many organizations are experiencing budget cuts and other forms of financial difficulties, which means they may not be able to cover multiple retirees' benefits. Something that one of the participants in the news episode said was, if I had known, I would have made different plans for my medical benefits. I wouldn't have just sat here, right? Because he trusted that he would have these medical benefits for life. Unfortunately, he's diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. His wife, needs to be able to stay home to support and take care of him. So now they're in a place of trying to figure out what steps to take next. This just gives us another example of unexpected situations that may be on the horizon or may significantly disrupt our plans, and the importance of us being aware of what is happening in our communities, in our country, that may eventually affect us as well. So this brings us to the point, back to the lady with the binoculars, of how foresight matters, being able to stay updated on policies, employer-related decisions, and economic forecasts, and how these might impact us and how they impact our clients. So starting to enter into your days thinking about this foresight-driven mindset and anticipating, if this happens, what might be my alternate plan? So this leads us to our next poll question, and I'm going to launch that for you. And it says, which area of financial resilience feels most challenging for you right now? Those predictable life events, such as your weekly expenses, unexpected events, such as car repairs, medical bills, disruptive events which really shake your world, such as job loss or major economic shifts or loss of medical benefits, or just simply staying aligned with your long-term goals and values. So I see the responses are coming in pretty quickly. Excellent. So again, we'll do about 3 more seconds and then I'll share those results. It's looking pretty even right now. So here we go, sharing the results. We have about 9% predictable life events seems to be the most challenging. 33% unexpected events. Yes, definitely those car repairs, medical bills. 36% disruptive events. Yes, and that's been very significant over the past couple years. And then just 23% staying in line with our long-term goals. Sometimes there can be those shifts in our lives that pull us away or distract us from some of those goals that we might have planned for ourselves. So again, thank you everyone for participating in that poll. That leads us to this whole idea of building a money compass, which is our objective for today. So as we go through the remainder of this webinar, you're going to see 7 steps about how to build your money compass. And my intention is to just go through and kind of share and explain those with you, but in your own personal space and time, when you have the chance to watch the recording of this webinar, to think about how you might go about applying these particular steps. Let's begin with kind of describing what a money compass is. I'll start by saying what it is not. It is not a budget. It is not a set of rules. It is not this strict disciplinary method or anything to that extent. It is just supposed to be this gentle and creative approach that you can explore if it fits for your life and your steps that you want to take in regards to your finances. So basically, it is this decision-making model to help support you during times of uncertainty or what may feel unstable, as if you're walking across rough terrain. So something to help you keep a sense of balance, a sense of resilience, and the ability to stay focused on your particular goals. So let's enter into step 1. So step 1, if we think of a compass, if you've ever used a compass, and I have an image on the screen as well, a compass always points to true north, the direction of north. And when we know at least where north is, we know where east, west, and south might be. So it helps us have this sense of balance of, okay, I have a direction. Now, which direction do I want to go in? So I often view our values as our true north, something that keeps us grounded, something that gives us foundation, something that helps us have a sense of direction. So in step number 1, it's going to be important to identify your values and how your values affect your financial decisions. So as you can see here, we're social workers, so we have some action steps to put into place. And it says list your top 5 personal and professional values. And these might be one and the same for you. After you list those values, circle 2 to 3 that seem to have the most influence on your financial choices. And then after choosing those 2 to 3, write down a sentence that describes how each value could guide your money decisions. So we really want to make this practical and measurable. I have some examples at the bottom of the screen. So for example, if your value is about stability, your sentence describing how you could use it could be, I prioritize choices that protect my long-term security. I prioritize choices that protect my long-term security. So this might mean you don't buy anything on a whim because that might not be protective of your long-term security. So that is our step one, really identifying those core values. Now let's go into step two, where you clarify your long-term vision. When we think of vision, that helps to give us something to focus on and keep something in front of us to move towards. As you can see in the first line here, having a vision helps to shift us from short-term survival mode to long-term direction. And when we have long-term direction, we can feel an increased sense of ease. So some action steps around that. And this would be interesting. And I certainly invite you all to post in the questions box too. Define what financially thriving looks like for you in 5 to 10 years. That's interesting. What would financially thriving look like for you in 5 to 10 years? And in thinking about that, what would be some indicators? What might be 3 to 5 indicators of success that you are moving forward in your financial thriving? Could that be career growth? Could that be debt reduction? Could that be a significant purchase, say a home or something to that extent? What would be an indicator? And then this is part of that planning ahead and that foresight. What could be possible barriers that could that currently disrupt your progress? Okay. Being aware of barriers that may have happened or are currently happening allows us to think forward and plan for if those barriers tend to happen again. Okay. So I like that your vision becomes your destination, that your compass is pointing you towards. Now let us enter into step three. Okay, we're talking about foresight. For step three, you want to map out your predictable, unexpected, and disruptive events. All right, we had the poll question about this, right? So reflecting back on that poll question. And again, building that foresight around all of these types of events. So here we go. Your action steps. Identify your predictable events. And those are just those bills. It could be weekly, monthly, yearly bills that tend to come up that you're really used to. And then identifying some of those unexpected events that you may have experienced before. I mean, I've experienced many tires that have had nails in them and losing air, and I need new tires. Or I have experienced many medically related issues where I need an appointment. So what are some of those things that have come up in your life? And then 3, disruptive events, large scale, they just seem to change your world completely, more than unexpected, disruptive. And again, some that we've seen over these years have been significant job loss. We have seen the shifts in student loans, and now we're seeing more recently people who thought they would have medical benefits for life now will not. So again, those are disruptive events. So thinking forward, what are you seeing in the policies? What are some of those political conversations that are taking place, or conversations that are taking place in your work environment as well? Once you note these, ask yourself, what would I need in place to navigate each category with less stress? Again, this is you building foresight and really working to have a plan in place if any of these events take place. Okay. Now let's take a look at step 4, establishing your non-negotiables. Establishing your non-negotiables are a way of building your boundaries, and the analogy that we are going to use here is the analogy of guardrails. For many of us who are on the road, you see the guardrails off to the side, and they are there to help to protect us from going in a direction that is unsafe. right? So let's think of your non-negotiables as these boundaries or these guardrails to protect you or to help to keep you from going into directions that are unsafe. So for this action step, you're invited to identify 3 to 5 financial behaviors that you commit to regardless of the circumstances, whether they're disruptive, predictable, or unexpected. Your intention is to stick to these commitments. So I recommend creating commitments that are realistic for your life. I have some examples here, such as always save a percentage of unexpected income, which could be job bonuses. Never make major decisions in moments of panic. Instead, you just want to pause and be able to think through it. Maintain a minimum emergency cushion. I mean, that could be as much as $50, $100, $200. What is it for your particular life? Or even committing to reviewing your finances monthly so you can see where your money as a tool is going. So again, what are some of those non-negotiables that you commit to doing no matter what the circumstance? And let's move into step number 5, where you are creating your decision-making filters, where you are making your values practical action steps, you're putting them into action, right? So here are some questions to be able to ask yourself around that. Does this decision that I am about to make align with my core values? Do they align with my north direction? Does this decision or will this decision move me closer to my long-term vision? Or will it disrupt my long-term vision? Would this decision support my stability in predictable, unexpected, or disruptive events? Or will it make me feel unstable and overwhelmed? Is this decision reactive? Am I just reacting and not really thinking through it? Or do I feel under pressure? Or is it intentional? Did I take time to really process, look at it through various perspectives? So as you can see at the bottom, it says these filters are the needle of your compass and they help to keep you oriented. Remember that our values are our direction north. So our values are a foundation and brings us back into focus. And then number 6, build your personal resilience toolkit. When we think of resilience, it is this set of skills that support us in navigating through challenging situations. So let's look at some of the action steps around that. Identifying 3 to 5 tools that could help you stay grounded. And again, this can look different for everyone. I know one thing that helps me to stay grounded is to consistently check in on my finances, such as my retirement account, see how that's doing, my credit card account, my savings account, just paying attention to the landscape of all of these financial resources that I have set up around me. 2, create a simple financial check-in routine. And again, this could just be checking into your accounts, whether it's once a week or once a month. And then number 3, develop a plan for how you will respond to stress or uncertainty. So when stressful situations come up or uncertain situations come up, for example, the student loan situation, start to think about how can I respond to this in a healthy way that is in alignment with my plan that I have devised. And then we have our final step, which is commit to collective resilience. We don't have to do all this alone. We can work with communities and gain that support around us. I think of the Center for Financial Social Work as a community that is filled with resources that allow us to interact with each other, allow us to learn from each other. So it is a community of support. So how can we both gain resources and share resources with others to support us in building our money compass and kind of staying committed to our money compass and also building our resilience toolkit. So as we begin to draw this webinar to a close, you can see on this particular slide that these are the 7 steps that we went through in regards to building your money compass. As I said earlier, please, in your personal time, as you're watching the recording of this webinar, take the time to go through each step and explore how it can apply to your life. So in closing, just a few thoughts are to know yourself, know your values and how that relates to and impacts your financial decisions. Know the landscape, right? That holistic foresight. What are some of the policy shifts happening? What are the decision-making processes occurring within our country or within your community or within your workplace? And how might that affect you? Prepare for change, a proactive mindset. Think about different scenarios. What if this happened? What might be my particular plan? And to adapt continuously. Continue to look at your money compass. Look at the different scenarios that are happening or coming forth in the news, and then review your money compass, review your plans of how you might react into those in response to those different situations. So again, adapt continuously. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar. And at this point, I am going to turn it back over to Rita.
Oh, before you did that, I was going to try to point out, Veronica, that the third picture over is a book you wrote. You didn't.
Yes.
Yes, but you didn't tell everybody that. I want you to tell everybody that.
I completely neglected that. So Prepared on Purpose is a book that I developed. It is a 52-week devotional where I pull from various types of scriptures that focus on preparation. So it is available on Amazon. And again, that QR code will take you right to the link, or you could go to Amazon, type in Prepared on Purpose and my name, and the book should be able to come up. Thank you so much for that, Rita.
But Veronica has other books. She writes a lot about finance. And so look her up because she's wonderful. And everybody stayed because they wanted to hear everything you were teaching us, Veronica. That was so great. So I want everybody that's still here to know that all of our products have a 15% off discount for you because you attended. And that expires on Monday at midnight. So among those things would be our financial social work certification. It's 5 workbooks, it's 20 CEUs. It changes people's lives, is what we're told. So we have the certification, and we have wonderful video courses, our couples and money video course, and our financial social work for community nonprofits are just very, very exciting, beneficial, and very, very popular. Additionally, we have a client financial wellness magazine, a support group kit, and graphic money guides pack. We do. Veronica mentioned that we have many resources for you, and we do. Financial Social Work Collaborative is a part of that. It's 4 amazing graduates who do several meetings. They schedule several meetings each month for networking, training, resources, and support. That's for our students and graduates, but they do offer one open house a month. If you want to learn more about us, that's fswcollaborative.com. We have our most recent ebook. You can find that at financialsocialwork.com/ebook. A necessary tool because it's a social work guide for circumventing political and economic uncertainty. And we have plenty of uncertainty. Next month, on February 12th, Dr. Hardy will be back with us, and I can't wait already to do part 2 of Financially Prepared on Purpose. And in March, I will be doing Why Money is Never Neutral, a gender responsive approach. So we have lots of good things for you and lots of things coming up. And Linda Benjamin, do we have any questions for Dr. Hardy or for myself?
We do. We have many thank yous for Dr. Hardy, and we have many questions. So I'm going to jump right into them. So Dr. Hardy, do you happen to have a list of those core values that we could use to help our clients think through what's important to them?
So I was coming from the perspective that the core values would come from the particular individuals, but I like that question about, do we have a list? Because I can see that some people may kind of need that prompting to think of what core values looks like. So now I feel like I'm going to build a list, and I think in part 2, I'll include that as part of the presentation as well. So thank you so much for asking that question.
That is really nice. Ask and you shall receive. Okay.
Yes.
We have another person who says, thank you so much, Dr. Hardy. Do you have tips on how we can help our clients review their own compass?
Oh, that would be awesome. Yes, so I'm thinking, like, one of my thoughts that comes to mind is, you know how many of us might use the genogram when we're working with families, and we might review that throughout our sessions. So same idea with this money compass, maybe using each, I recommend turning this into a handout if possible, and processing each step of that money compass and possibly building it during the session. So then it gives you space with your client to be able to visit it at later times. So you can see if they're moving towards their long-term vision.
Beautiful. Can we see the QR code again? Somebody asked.
Oh, yeah. Rita, are you able to switch me back to being the presenter?
I think I can do that. Dr. Hardy, there you go.
Okay. All right. So is everyone able to see this screen?
Oh, good. Now I can see Prepared on Purpose also.
Yes. Perfect. So here's our QR code. And once again, that will take you to my Amazon page. And like Rita said, there are several books noted, but you should be able to see Prepared on Purpose there as well. Thank you.
Lots of thank yous, Rita and Dr. Hardy. And one person is saying, I really appreciated this training. Is there any kind of worksheet that we can use with participants to help them build their compass?
Now, that is a great question because I actually have a worksheet. So what I could do, maybe I could process with Rita as well, possibly how we could go about getting that worksheet to you, or I could always invite you to possibly send me an email. And my email is just dr.veronicahardy@gmail.com.
Veronica, you could also include it in the next training. This gives us the opportunity to do some of those things, you know?
Oh, that's excellent.
So everybody should come back next month, right? Right.
Yeah, so there we go. So the next training, I know I'm going to have a values list in there, and also this worksheet to help support our clients.
Doesn't get any better than that. And for those of you inquiring about the discount code, you can see it. It's up on the screen now. It's 202601.
Excellent. Any other questions?
No, but there's just a ton of thank yous. And the fact everyone, lots of folks grateful that they'll get to use this and they know it will help. So thank you both.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. I hope we'll see you back here with Dr. Hardy and myself next month. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And thanks for joining us today.